Hello and welcome to yet another topic of GST, that is application of GST system, and also how can we avail input tax credit. So let's look at today's session topic, availing input tax credit. Now, what are the topics that we are going to cover in this particular session? We are going to cover just two topics. One is meaning of input tax, output tax, and net tax. And the second topic is working of GST system. We are going to understand with the help of an example. Now, what do you mean by input tax, output tax, and net tax? Now, if you remember, I had mentioned about the GST directory, or you can call it as GST dictionary as well, where there is a change of name. Purchases is called as an inward supply. Sales is called as an outward supply. Buyer is called as the recipient. Seller is called as a supplier. So we have different names given under the GST law. Now, what is this input tax? Let's understand the idea of taxes. So output tax is tax collected on the outward supply of goods. Outward supply basically represents sales in a common language. So when we are selling, as a seller, we are going to collect GST. So such taxes collected on the outward supply is called as output taxes. Next, we have input taxes. Input taxes basically are associated with the purchase of goods. So taxes paid on inward supply of goods is known as input taxes. So taxes paid on purchases of goods in simple are known as input taxes. And the third is net tax. Net tax is tax payable to the government, that is after adjustment of ITC, that is input tax credit. And there is a formula for net tax. Net tax is nothing but output tax, that is tax collected on outward supply, minus the input tax, that is tax paid on the inward supply of goods. So that amount is called as net tax. Now we are going to carry the idea of output tax, input tax, and net tax to understand how does the system of GST works. So working of GST system, I will take an example of a supply chain. Say there is a manufacturer who is selling goods to the wholesaler. Wholesaler is selling goods to the retailer. Retailer is selling goods finally to the customer. Now, how does this concept of GST apply in the hands of different people? Let's understand. I assume cost to the manufacturer is 100 rupees. Cost to the manufacturer is 100 rupees and he is claiming a profit of 100 rupees. So cost to the manufacturer is 900 rupees and he is claiming a profit of 100 rupees. So total selling price to the manufacturer is 1000 rupees. Let's assume the GST item rate is 5%. So 5% of 1000 rupees is rupees 50. So total amount collected from the wholesaler is 1050. Now in this 1050, the wholesaler pays GST rupees 50. So this amount of 50 rupees, we are focusing only on the GST portion, and this 50 rupees is shown right here. So GST amount collected from the wholesaler is 50 rupees. So selling price of the manufacturer will become cost price to the wholesaler. So selling price is 1000 rupees. So cost to the wholesaler will be 1000 rupees. Wholesaler will add his share of profit of 100 rupees. This is just an assumption that I'm taking. So selling price from the wholesaler's point of view is 1100. Now on this 1100, he is going to collect a GST from the retailer. The rate is same at 5%. And 5% of 1100 rupees is rupees 55. So the retailer is going to pay rupees 55 to the wholesaler. And this is the 55 rupees that we are talking about. We have it right here. So manufacturer is selling to the wholesaler. So from the wholesaler, manufacturer will collect 50 rupees as GST amount. Our focus is on GST amount. Or the wholesaler will pay GST rupees 50 to the manufacturer. Now, when it comes to transaction between a wholesaler and a retailer, whatever is the selling price to the manufacturer will become cost price to the wholesaler. Wholesaler will add his share of profit, let's say 100 rupees, and selling price for the wholesaler is 1,100 rupees. And GST will now be calculated at 5% on this 1,100 rupees, which works out to rupees 55. So total amount of GST payable by the retailer to the wholesaler is rupees 55. So retailer is paying. Remember, this 50 rupees from the wholesaler's point of view is called input tax. This 55 rupees from the retailer's point of view is called as input tax. Remember this. And from the wholesaler's point of view, this 55 rupees becomes output tax because this is on outward supply of goods amount of GST collected from the customer, and for the wholesaler, the customer is the retailer. Let's move ahead. Retailer, the selling price to the wholesaler is 1,100, which becomes the cost price to the retailer. So retailer will add his share of profit, let's say 100 rupees itself. So selling price for the retailer is now 1,200 rupees. And 5% GST will be added on that selling price, which works out to 60 rupees. So customer is going to pay rupees 60 to the retailer as GST amount, and that amount is right here. So in all examples, I have assumed that manufacturer's profit amount is 100. So also is wholesaler, so also is retailer. Now, important point, if we check, we are calculating GST on the selling price. Again, over here, we are calculating GST on the selling price. So from 1,000 here, 1,000 here. We are calculating GST on the selling price, that is 1,200 rupees. Nowhere we are including this 50 rupees for wholesaler. There is no concept of, tax on tax. There is no tax on tax applicable, no cascading effect of GST. GST is plainly calculated on the selling price of the commodities after adding profit of the concerned business person. So overall, we say customer is going to pay 1,200 rupees the cost, and total 60 rupees the GST amount the customer is going to pay to the retailer. So from the retailer's point of view, this 60 rupees becomes output tax because this is the tax collected by the retailer on outward supply of goods. Then moving further now, very, very important. I mentioned earlier, this 50 rupees which the wholesaler has already paid to the manufacturer. The wholesaler has paid 50 rupees to the manufacturer. That 50 rupees becomes input tax to the wholesaler. So input tax credit to the wholesaler is rupees 50. So input tax available for credit from the wholesaler's point of view is rupees 50. Now, let's calculate his net tax. So net tax from the wholesaler's point of view is output tax, which will be output tax minus input tax. Output tax is rupees 55. We have it here. Output tax is rupees 55, which we have it here. And input tax is rupees 50, which he has already paid. So 5 rupees is the amount that the wholesaler is called upon to pay to the government. We will discuss it further. Similarly, retailer has paid 55 rupees to the wholesaler. So that 55 rupees is input tax credit to the retailer. That means he can avail credit of this 55 rupees. Now moving further, from the retailer's point of view, how much amount is he supposed to pay to the government? Point is simple. He will have to pay. He has collected 60 rupees output tax minus 55 rupees, which he has already paid to the wholesaler. That will be his net tax. So from the retailer's point of view, net tax amount is equal to output tax, which is 60 rupees, which is right here, and 55 rupees, which he has already paid to the wholesaler. Already paid to the wholesaler. This is collected from the customer. So the retailer is called upon to pay 5 rupees to the government. Let's understand now. From the manufacturer's point of view, manufacturer will pay to the government rupees 50, whatever GST is collected from the wholesaler. Next is how much amount will be paid by the wholesaler. Wholesaler will pay only rupees 5, only net tax 5 rupees, because 50 rupees he has already paid here to the manufacturer. He has collected 55 rupees from the retailer. So the net value only 5 rupees is supposed to deposit with the government, provided the manufacturer uploads the invoice and that original invoice is also uploaded by the wholesaler. So only then this net input tax credit will be available. Moving further, how much retailer is supposed to pay to the government? Point to note, retailer has collected 60 rupees from the customer and he has already paid 55 rupees to the wholesaler. So the net tax payable will only be rupees 5. So GST paid by retailer is 5 rupees. So that will be the amount that the retailer will have to be paid. Retailer will have to pay to the government. So total GST payable will be 50 rupees by the manufacturer, 5 rupees by the wholesaler, and 5 rupees by the retailer. And total amount is 60 rupees, which will be paid. And this 60 rupees is nothing but the amount of GST paid by the customer, that is to the retailer. So when customer is paying 60 rupees, that is all covered, 50 by manufacturer, 5 rupees by wholesaler, and 5 rupees by retailer put together. So I hope this system of GST, how does it work? Who has to pay how much? Is very, very clear. Very important last statement. No matter who pays input tax, who collects output tax, ultimately, whatever is the GST amount payable on the transaction, total amount will be paid by the customer. So customer is the one who is going to bear the GST liability, whereas these intermittent parties will only pay their share on the basis of the net tax. So from manufacturer 50 rupees, from wholesaler we have net tax here, from retailer we have net tax right here. So total amount payable 60, which is actually paid by the customer to the retailer, and settling of whatever GST amounts were paid in the earlier part of the supply chain. So this is how GST system works. I hope this concept is very, very clear. So I would like to thank you for your company. So my email ID, my mobile number, just to connect with me. So once again, thank you very much and for your support. And also I expect that if you would help me in subscribing to the channel, sharing the knowledge about GST, and also liking the topics. And don't forget to comment as well. So thank you very much.